Welcome back, everyone. Toyshiz here, and I am back yet again to give you guys another early look courtesy of my friends over at McFarlane Toys. And today we are going to be checking out their upcoming Batman Arkham City, based on the Arkham video games, right? This is the Solomon Grundy Collect to Build wave, featuring characters like the Penguin, straight from the video games. On the box, you get to see he's figure number 4, Collect to Build, Solomon Grundy. And on the back, you get to see all the different information. You got the picture of the figure. You'll need 4 figures to build up old Ras Al Ghul here, and here's all the characters that are in the wave. Now, these haven't started to hit store shelves just yet, but here's the barcode for Penguin when it does, along with Ras Al Ghul, not Ras Al Ghul, it's Ras, right? You got to get the name just right, or else he's going to take your head off. Anyways, Catwoman, Selena was definitely interested in this figure because I really am hoping that she can fit in with the more modern, usual comic book figures. And then, of course, you have a re-release of Batman. A couple changes here and there, of course, and here's the barcode as well. Now, keep in mind, in my prior video, I had mentioned that this really was not going to be the wave I was going to get. I'm more interested in Solomon Grundy, Catwoman, see how they kind of stack up. So you're not going to hear a lot of, oh, I can't believe they did this. Oh, I'm just not a fan of the video game characters and the designs, but we're going to treat this mainly as these are the toys. Let's see how the paint, the design, everything looks, and I can leave my feelings on the video game designs off to the side. I do really like the video games, though. Trust me on that. But in either case, this is going to be fun. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee. This is an early look at the upcoming Batman Arkham City Solomon Grundy Collect to Build wave by McFarlane Toys. And of course, here are all the characters out of the packaging. I haven't put Solomon Grundy together just yet. He'll be at the end. I'm going to keep you watching, huh? One of those things. Wink, wink. You can't fast forward, though. That's the one thing. I've disabled that somehow. Don't even try. Don't try, okay? Anyways, here's Ras Al Ghul. He'll be the first figure that we'll be taking a look at today, and he comes with one accessory, and it's the sword of Ras Al Ghul. When in the video game, you go up against him. If I remember correctly, he ends up dying, you know, how Ras does. Gold paint, silver paint, a couple little writings here and there on the blade. Looks good. And Ras Al Ghul himself. Now, this was, again, one of those figures where I go, you know, I have a look in my head for Ras Al Ghul, right? Right out the door. We're looking at it in terms of the video game. I think they've done a great job in capturing the look of said character from the video game. Lots of detail, as you'd expect. Peg holes on the bottom of the feet. He's got tattoos. Lots of paint decoration, and I like it. It's not one of those figures where I have to go, this is missing. The tattoos are cool, right? He's got like dragons on each arm. They're applied nicely. It looks good on the pale skin, right? It kind of just meshes well, really brings it out a lot more. And the articulation is going to be what you'd expect for Ras Al Ghul. Now, one thing I will tell you, though, is that I do think that while they got the hair right, the face looks good, but he's got a little bit too much of that eyeshadow going on. It's kind of like that old Joker figure, right? From, year 2, something like that. However, all the ornate details that are all over his armor and chest plate are there. Various demon faces, heads, whatever you want to call it. The articulation, you get pretty decent head mobility out of it. Although I really wish you could make him look up a little bit more. Not much of an ab crunch, more of a waist, even though it's a rubber piece. The arms, they'll go up, no problems there. You got bicep, double jointed, the wrists are good. Nothing is loose, and the legs will kick out. He's got double jointed knees, and you'll have the usual updated articulation, which is good for the feet and the toe. And again, qualms aside, I mean, he does look really good with Batman and then his grandson Damian from prior DC Multiverse releases. So it kind of fits. I actually kind of ended up liking this figure more so than I thought. Again, Ras is the guy in the green jacket, right? But hey, not a bad looking figure, to be honest with you. Next up, we have Oswald Cobblepot, or how you know him best, the Penguin. And you get the Penguin umbrella with a really cool gold penguin face to it. And the gunbrella, right? You could have it be that, or it's just a walking cane umbrella. In either case, he comes with an umbrella, and that's awesome because that's what you need for the Penguin. Now, again, the face is not my favorite. I think that's the main problem with this figure. Like, I get it. I get what he's supposed to look like. He's got a jar, base of a jar jammed in his eye and everything else. I just don't care for the face. I think they could have done a little bit better job. It's just kind of ugly looking. You know what I mean? Like, you get it. He's ugly, but it's an ugly figure. If you catch my drift. But he's got that little piece on his neck, which is nicely sculpted in. The jacket, the fur coat. He's got a lot more articulation than you would think for a penguin figure. Let me just tell you that. But down to his coat, he got his rotund body, right? I think they nailed that. It's kind of like the old superpowers. Down to his spats, his pants, the backside of the jacket has lots of different texture to it. Fabric texture. It looks good. I'll give it to him all day. The face aside, it looks good. I mean, the hat's cool. I'll give it to him all day. That's a penguin hat right there. But just in terms of the articulation, which is really funny. Again, you don't expect this to really work. The hat does not come off, just FYI. It's not like a removable piece, so in case you were wondering. But you do get a lot of mobility in the head and the arms and the double jointed elbows and the hands, and it all works. Swivels nicely, stays nicely. You got a waist rotation and a big old gut crunch. That's like one of the best ab crunches I've seen for a McFarlane Toys. No joke. He's got single jointed knees, they'll spin, and his spats, toe articulation. You get the idea. He holds his umbrella well. He actually looks good in the sense of you know that that's the penguin, but I'm still not sold on the face, if that makes any sense. But I really like the articulation the most on this guy. I think they did a great job in that sense. Catwoman, Selena Kyle is the next figure up. And yes, this was the figure where if I see her in the store, probably take her home. She comes with a whip. That's amazing. Penguin's got his umbrella. Catwoman's got her whip. It's like Batman Returns all over again. But it's nicely done. It would have been even more awesome if it was some sort of bendy wire. That would have been fantastic. But for what is there for the whip, I'm happy with it. And I'm happy with Selena Kyle Catwoman too. There are some instances where I'm like, I really wish this was a little bit different. But again, being that it's the Arkham City, Arkham Asylum style, I think that she closely resembles what is in even the comic books nowadays, right? Just the other day I saw a couple new issues. But the collar, the head, everything looks really great on her. I think what's the standout right here is this diaper piece. And I think that it rides up, one, a little bit too high, and two, the colors below the waist are like a lighter shade of black, whereas the upper part, the arms, torso, the headpiece, even more so, like dark black to lighter black to the lightest black. Color is off for this figure in many ways, and you got to make sure that you line up the zipper just perfectly, or else it's going to go every which way. But I will say this. They're giving us a Catwoman figure. They're not shying away from things, if you catch my drift there, which is nice to see, right? The head articulation is pretty solid. I give it to him on that. I like the red goggles, although I wish you could pull them down. That would be kind of cool. The articulation is really nice on this figure. It's got a piece of fuzz or something stuck in the joint there. Anyway, sorry about that. Biceps swivel, double jointed elbows. She has a really nice ab crunch to her. She goes back a whole lot. There's a lot of acrobatics that can be done with the articulation presented for this Catwoman figure. So in terms of the legs, I think a lot of people are saying, I think her legs are too long. Yeah, I think it works. In terms of the Catwoman, she does have heels, so she's going to be taller. She even has little toe articulation on the heel. Thanks for putting that in. Although I would say unnecessary. It doesn't really move all too much. At least on this side either. No, it's there, but I don't know what function it does besides just kind of adding to articulation points. But as you can see, yeah, you can get her in all kinds of poses, and it does look good. So with the exception of the diaper, but then the color mismatch, this one, it's like, it's cool, but at the same time, when you really look close, you're like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's that type of thing. Then you have the reissue, re-release of Batman. And we have seen this Batman before. We have seen this grapple gun before. Still no paint on the grapple gun. It's just a solid black piece. It does what it sets out to do. It looks okay, but a little bit of update would have been nice. You know what I mean? Batman himself. Now, I will tell you this. If you missed this guy the first time around, what I do like is that they whited out the eyes. And I like that as preferred to the pupils that all the Arkham City, Arkham Knight games have. You know what I mean? I like just the whited out eyes. He goes into detective mode or whatever in the video game. He's got nice black armor. He's got the gray tights. He's got a nice cape to him. if you wanted a more armored up Batman without going more into like, oh man, this is the exact video game look, he's not a bad looking Batman. So in that sense, I like some of the changes that they've implemented. I like the ears a whole heck of a lot. He's got some paint on his lip. It just brings out a lot more detail, makes him look, yeah, that much better, which is always nice to see. The belt is nice. The arms, the articulation does the exact same thing. Unfortunately, he has the older ball articulation, right, in the wrists and on the feet. So keep that in mind. So all the other figures are all updated articulation, whereas this guy kind of sticks within that realm of, year one for McFarlane Toys. So again, if you get him in all the articulated poses that you want, and you want a solid-looking just video game Batman, this will probably be right up your alley. And then, of course, lo and behold, you put them all together, you got Solomon Grundy. And that is a face only a mother could love right there. But dang, is that a great face. I love the paint on this guy. They really went to town in the sculpted details. They did a great job in that sense. You got all the different stagnation and all the different decrepitness, right? Even on his toes, which is really gross because he has mummification, putrefaction, decomposition. Yeah, I know about that. But he doesn't have it on his hands, unfortunately. But if you look at, this is my favorite part about this figure, the way that they're able to capture texture of fabric. I mean, they did a fantastic job. Even the paint all over it. It just looks old and moldy, like he's been in a swamp, right? It just looks rotted and tattered. In that sense, I think this figure does work out quite well. And I will say that just the head sculpt alone, it's quite fun, right? That's a cool looking zombified, more modernish take on Solomon Grundy. No, if you were wondering, like the old DC Collectibles one, the chest cavity does not open, so you're not going to be getting that. He doesn't have bicep swivel either, although I feel like in the stitches they could have put that. He does have the chains. The chains are not my favorite, and no, I don't feel like they are removable. You'd have to really go at it to get them off. They're glued on despite that, and I can't pull the wrists off, so in case you didn't want them on there, maybe you could figure out. I like his belt, right? He's got that Jimbo Jones belt, right? Dude, he's ragging on your cord, man. The head articulation is okay. You basically go left and right. Not too much movement down or up. Now with the arms, I like that they've changed some things. There is a ratchet in the arms, which I can appreciate. But be careful, because unless you really pop these things in and hear them click, they're going to pop out. And that's one of the things where I'm like, oh no, I hope that it is not going to be like one of those things where they consistently fall out. Now, once they're in, they work with you, but just go slow initially. You figure it out. He has, not really an ab crunch, but an ab swivel. You know what I mean? He'll rotate at the waist. And I think that the diaper on him works well. It blends in well. Unlike, you see the difference between him and Catwoman? You get my drift. The legs, again, go easy. Nothing to where you have to worry about breaking it. But I did notice on this side, if you don't put it in all the way and hear it click, the leg will pop out. It's got single jointed knees. It doesn't look the best in the knee. You know what I'm talking about with the articulation. But the feet are good. And you got the toe. You have true toe articulation. Just FYI. So just all the grays, just the rottenness of him really works well for a Solomon Grundy figure. Yes, a little bit more articulation in terms of bicep swivel, just to kind of get him in those poses would have been ideal. And yes, just to show you, once you get all the legs and the arms attached, you should have no problems. And I just show this off because, in the video it pops out and yada yada. But you really got, just go slow and make sure you hear that, and you should be okay. But enough about the figure. How does he scale already? Well, let's talk about that, because I'm wondering what your guys' thoughts would be. Now, for me, I'm looking for a Solomon Grundy that can closely match the comic books while still living in the Arkham universe. Totally get that. He is taller than Batman. He's taller than the Arkham City Batman from this wave, as you can see, back to back. So that's great that he is taller. That's really all I was looking for. He is not the video game specific huge hulking monster as he's portrayed size, though. So a lot of people might be like, I was kind of hoping for bigger. For me, Solomon Grundy is around this size, right? So to put him with Batmans in your various collections, that's what I was hoping for. But again, as you can see, at least he is taller than Batman. And if, say, you have the Three Jokers Batman, which I think looks really good with this Grundy, yes, he is taller than him as well. He's not huge Hulk-like proportions compared to Batman, but I'm okay with that. And plus, what's really cool with the ratcheted joints, you can put his hand up and actually hold Batman in his hand. So I kind of dig that as well. Now, Catwoman compared to this version of Batman and prior released versions, I think that these all match up well together. She's a little bit taller because she's got the heels, but these two go together as well. So in terms of various Batman, which I'll show you in just a second, it will remain up to you what you think scale-wise. All these figures go together Batman-wise. The Hush Batman, I think, is a little bit too tall as it is. But again, I'll reiterate, I think the Three Jokers Batman is the one that can match up the best. And as you can see here, Solomon Grundy, the Hush Batman, he's just too tall as it is. The Three Jokers Batman is probably going to be the way to go. And just for fun, here's Penguin to show you scale with Knightfall Batman and Solomon Grundy. Now, with the Three Jokers Batman, Damian Wayne, and Ras Al Ghul, and with the way Ras Al Ghul is portrayed in modern comics, doesn't look too shabby. The Three Jokers Batman with this Catwoman, that's what I was hoping would fit, and I think that she does look really good with him. So that is a win in my book. And just to completely flip my whole theory that Solomon Grundy is a good size, right? Well, when you look at him against the new mega figure Bane, you know, Bane shouldn't be taller than Solomon Grundy or around the same size. You know what I mean? So Solomon Grundy should have either been a single release figure or a mega figure. Because if you're going to go this size, yes, you could have beefed him up just a little bit better. Yes, I'm happy with this size, but then just don't put him anywhere near Bane, if you catch my drift. So all in all, it's a pretty solid wave if you're a big fan of the Arkham video games, right? There's a good Penguin, there's a good Catwoman, there's a good Ra's, and the Solomon Grundy is okay. It's really going to depend on your feelings towards the size and scale. So that's going to wrap it up for my look at the brand new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Arkham City Solomon Grundy Collect to Build Wave. Whew, man, we got to figure out a way to reduce those words, right? And you've heard my thoughts. Now I'm curious to know yours. Comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything DC Multiverse. And I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, now, if we can get some more classic Batman villains like Mr. Freeze, something like that, yeah, wouldn't mind. But I'm happy for those that really enjoy the Arkham games because this is definitely going to be the wave for you. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.